Hey, welcome to Geeky Faucets. I'm Amy Dale.
I'm Christine Lucas-Savage.
And this is episode 37. And today we're going to talk about Conlangs, which we will define for you in a moment. But for now, you just have to be on the edge of your seat. But I wanted to talk about Under the Dome, which we both, I got into it and then I suckered her into it. And
it's good.
It was really good. It ends on a cliffhanger. It's got that traditional, Lost. I always compare everything to Lost because that's the first.
The music at the end of each, like when it, is supposed to go to commercial break, and it goes, and we're like, yeah, that's Lost. You hear the music?
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, and so the acting is not always awesome, but it's really good.
I'm really good at ignoring bad acting. I'm just saying. I have a lot of experience with bad acting.
Yeah. Anyway, it is. Well, I think I get spoiled watching BBC shows because the acting is really good usually in BBC shows.
And they're English, so they always sound awesome.
They sound like they're acting.
I know. Even though they might not be, I'm not sure I care.
Exactly. Okay, and then John and I also started watching because on Netflix now, Revolution is on. I
watched it.
So I watched the first episode with my daughter Anna, and she was like, that was a little bit intense, which also my sister said the same thing. She was like, it was too intense for me. But we watched the first episode together, and I was like, I kind of liked that. So when John came home, he was away hunting, and when he came home, we watched it together, and we've gotten totally into it. I think there's one season on Netflix. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't looked it up.
And it's probably restarting again now, but it's really good. It hooks you in, and you want to know what's going to happen. And really big good news is that Walking Dead is starting back this week.
I don't really care.
And she doesn't care, but I'm so excited. I told John, I was like, Walking Dead is coming back really soon. He was like, I know, I'm so excited. So, yeah, it's going to be
Who
fun.
else is excited for Walking Dead? Yay! Not me! 50% of us
I
are.
went into Hot Topic the other day, and I was standing there looking at T-shirts, and I turned around, and I was like, oh, sorry. And it was not a real person. It was in fact.
I'm so sorry, I missed that. Oh my God.
I had two really embarrassing moments in that store that I don't think anybody else saw. Well, one of them, somebody else saw it, but that was one of them. I turned around and I was like, oh, sorry. And it was Daryl. It was a full stand-up of Daryl from Walking Dead. And then I was like, oh, hi. Because I love Daryl. And then this guy, so the people that work at Hot Topic, I love them. Bless them. They're so nice. But sometimes they can be a tiny bit scary looking. And so the guy that worked there this day, he had these dreadlocky braids, but his head was shaved, but the dreadlocky braids just came from this little.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. He was great, and he had this full-on skeleton-y outfit, which I actually wanted his t-shirt because it had all the bones and the names of them. And I was like, I'm studying anatomy with my kids right now. That would be super helpful.
I know.
So anyway, that's all that aside. I was looking at t-shirts, and I was very apparently I should not look at t-shirts. I get a little too focused on the t-shirts. So I was looking through all the t-shirts on the wall and really focused, and he stealthily snuck up right behind me, apparently, because I didn't hear him coming at all, and was like, can I help you find anything? And I was like, I had a major freak out moment, and then I was like, I'm sorry. No, you don't look scared. And then you do one of those things where you're
you backpedal
no,
and make it
you're not
worse.
scary. It's just that I was scared because you surprised me, but you're not scared. I mean, you don't look scary. Anyway, I was like, I'm sorry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry I
wish my mouth would just stop moving sometimes. So
Okay, onward. Conlangs. Constructed language is what it's called. So these would be the Dothraki language, the Na'vi language from what's that movie? Avatar.
The blue people.
Klingon, Elvish. And so we're talking about what makes a Conlang, and because it's not like Pig Latin, which is a code language. What separates a code from a Conlang language is
because a Conlang is
grammar.
a real language.
It's a real language you can actually use. It's grammar and all this. There's a really cool video which we should probably link to.
Yeah,
that talks all about it.
Educates you on this.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. What I want to know is why even bother starting your own language, because there's so many of them out there. I
know.
Wait, who has the brain power to even do that?
Tolkien.
I barely have the brain power to even
I know.
speak English.
I know. And you know what though? It's really interesting because I think it's just this. It's really smart people. Smarter than us. Sorry, Christine. Smarter than me, for sure.
No, it's true.
And they want to construct, because I'm a writer, and I love writing fiction, and I love constructing another universe, and you do too. Mm-hmm. You were also a writer. But it's this taking it another step further and really immersing your reader in another universe where it's like, but to be honest, I'm not an educated enough reader to be like, oh, that's not a constructed language. That is German.
I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
But some of their readers are really smart people. So, yeah, they take it that step further. And I think it's really awesome when people are able to do it. I would not ever. I can barely speak English. And I did take Spanish in, high school, and I got a D. Oops. So...
Awesome.
Not good with other language.
Well, and the other thing too is like when you create a language, what makes a language like uniquely a language is that it changes, it's messy, there's no like strict form. I mean, there are rules, but there's always exceptions to rules. And in this video, they were talking about how J.R. Tolkien made exceptions to rules, like new and no. It's not node, it's no, and you know what I mean. And so in
some stuff you just have to know.
You just have to know. Yes.
Like it doesn't follow the rules, which is exactly like how it is in every other language.
Yeah, and I'm in the middle of trying to learn Korean, and putting a sentence together. He said what separates a constructed language from a code language is being able to put a sentence together with grammar, and that's really hard because some languages have completely different sentence structure than the language I already know, and you're sitting there going, are you serious? I don't even know what you're saying.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before the show started. We have this book, Tim Ferriss wrote a book called The 4-Hour Workweek, and then after that he wrote one called The 4-Hour Chef. And it's not just about cooking, it's about learning all kinds of things. And one of the things it talks about is mastering a language and how to do it like faster and easier than other methods. And it said that people that did this like tested way further ahead than people who'd been doing Rosetta Stone for ages kind of thing. So it was apparently really effective if you can do it. So Anna, my daughter, is trying to learn Japanese.
Which is super inconvenient for me. It'd be so nice if we were learning the same Asian language. Yeah. Thanks, Anna.
I know. So she watches all these Japanese animes. And so she's trying to... It's really helpful, though, because like she's learning the words and then she's... Like, we're listening to the theme song the other day of one of them because I was watching it with her, and she was like, oh, that word means so-and-so. Oh, and that's such and such form of that, and I picked up, the first time I watched one, I picked up Origato means thank you because of the song.
Mr. Roboto?
Yes! I was like, oh, I never knew what Origato mean, but I knew the song Domo Origato. So, anyway, but...
I like how you did the robot just there. Anyway.
It was, it's been really effective for her. I don't know. It's like learning, it's like figuring out what the most common words are and then learning those words and how to construct those in a sentence. And that way you're actually able, instead of, in a lot of languages, they're like teaching you words or sentences that don't matter.
Yes.
So
yeah. the most common conlang that you've probably heard of is Klingon, which there are loads of people who know Klingon. Although of all the languages, why would you learn Klingon? Because it's very... Yeah, let me hallelujah all of you while I'm talking to you. But they actually have Hamlet written in Klingon.
I really want to see that performed.
I kind of do too.
In makeup, like with
with the thing on the foreheads. Yeah, I kind of like to see that. Can any of you speak Klingon? Because if you can you write like in the comments section like a sentence in Klingon for me?
We'll have a lot of respect for you because I think it's
serious
awesome.
Amounts of respect because it's pretty cool.
And Elvish is a beautiful language. Yeah. Like anytime I'm watching the movies or reading the book, I just skip over the book.
It always sounds so graceful and like la la. It's like
singing.
I want to be an elf.
Yes,
without the pointy ears. I'm not a fan of the pointy ears. I have I have a thing with ears. I have stupid ears. She
has elvish ears. Have you noticed that? It's very cute. She looks really like a little elf.
My ears are not the same.
I didn't actually even notice that they had their own language, to be honest. That movie, I kind of like...
I didn't like it.
It felt like Pocahontas with blue people to me, but it was pretty to look at. And, I mean, I wasn't like totally adverse to it. I own it, so I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like I've never actually watched it since I bought it, to be honest. Now
I watched it once, and I'm like, I'll never watch that again. That was a complete waste of my time.
It was. I liked it, but I didn't love it. So, but I didn't notice their own language thing. Dothraki is super awesome, though.
Really?
Yes, and not only do they have their own language, the way that they talk, like even when you translate it into English, is really unique. You know what I mean? Like she calls her. What do you call
that thing husband?
My sun and stars and stuff like this, like just weird lingo and stuff, which I think is super cool.
That
That
is
they
really
just made this
cool.
whole different culture around.
I would like to meet the people who come up with these things. Like, I really want to sit down with them and like get inside their head and be like, how did you do that? Because I mean, I start to think, okay, well, let me see if I can form my own language, and then I'll like start trying to think of. I can't even think of other words. Like it just sounds
I think you
completely.
have to like have some understanding of like the base of languages and like Latin and
Oh, I'm
things like
sure,
that.
but still,
Things that we don't have understanding.
I have no understanding whatsoever. But still, though, because like I'll try to make up a word, I'll look at something and be like, oh, camera. Let's think of another word for that. Moochiba. Like, how do you think of a new word for camera?
Yeah.
Hey, we're filming in front of a moochie bar.
I don't know, but that was really good.
Thank you.
I think you should work. I think that though that language sort of needs to be for a little furry group of people.
The furries. Have y'all ever heard of those people? The furry people?
Yes, the furries, but also just little critters that are small. A moochaba. That doesn't sound like something that a civilized group of people would call it.
What do you mean?
I mean,
What are you trying to say? I'm being serious right now, and you are stomping on my dreams. Stomping.
Sorry, I am tap dancing this year, so.
So there you're practicing for when you stomp on it
your
for real.
Okay, well, let us know if any of you can speak a conlang, because we would love to hear it.
Or if you've made any up. I'd love to, know somebody.
And, like, the thing that really keeps these languages going and becoming real languages more and more are the people who learn it, and fans and people on forums who are practicing and learning and talking to each other in these languages. And I think that's super cool. I'm like, wow, that is awesome
really,
that you
really
guys do that. Yeah. So, anyway, let us know. Give us your feedback. What are your favorite conlangs? I think I really like Dothraki, but Elvish is beautiful. Dothraki's not beautiful, but I think it's just cool the way that he's
Klingon
phrased
is
things.
beautiful.
We just need to
That's
learn
what
to
they call the
phrase.
camera, and that's what they say. How they say camera in Klingon.
It probably is.
I'm pretty sure. I'm a
pretty
genius.
sure.
No.
Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.